Today I'm going to teach you how to paint wood grain on a paint palette cookie. It's easy, but it does change a little bit from the way I described the mixing of the paints before. For this particular cookie, I'm going to use a brush that I kind of made myself. It's a fan brush, and I don't know if you can see or not, but I went ahead and I kind of like gave it a weird haircut. I plucked out bits and pieces from the shape of the brush. If you can see, it's not all one solid piece of brush, and that will give me the grain I'm going for. There's other brushes you can purchase out in the marketplace that give you the same effect, but for my purposes, I really like the brush I made, so that's what I'm going to be using today. Well, contrary to other cookies I've shown you in the past, this one is a little bit different because like I said, it's going to be a wood grain, and because in my mind a wood grain is more, of course, browns and tans, I started out flooding and piping this royal cookie with royal icing that was tinted to tan color. So it's not your standard white background cookie, which I do use on most of my cookies, but this one is a little bit different. Again, it's done with tan. So I'm going to go ahead and show you up here. I do have a squirt, a drop of brown food coloring, and I'm going to add actually more water than I showed you last time because I don't really want this to be a really dark wood grain. I want it to just give a subtle look of a wood grain. So I'm adding several drops of water to the one drop of food coloring, and then I'll come in with my fan brush. Well, I probably should mix it with a different brush, but I'm going to come in with my fan brush and give it a good mix. And I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm thinking it's probably pretty dark at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, and you'll get a feel for this just after doing it for a while, different cookies. I'm going to add more water because I don't want it to be so dark. And because it pretty much soaked up on the brush right away. So again, I added more water, kind of give it a mix. And then again, because I don't want the wood grain to be really too crazy thick, I'm going to try and get off a lot of that paint. A lot of that paint. At this point, I think what I'm going to do too is use my napkin that I always put my cookie on and kind of dab on it. Wow, that's really thick. Well, that's good. I'm able to show you. For my next cookie, I'm going to get a different napkin, but just to give you an idea of what I'm doing. There's barely any paint on here, if you can see it. It's almost like a dry brush, but it does have pigment on it. So at this point, with a very light hand and looking at my cookie and not the camera, I hope I can do this well. With the lightest of hand, I mean, don't give it barely any pressure. In one stroke, solid, even stroke, run it down the entire length of your cookie, whatever cookie you're working on. It's a tree or a branch. This one happens to be paint palette. There, hardly any force at all was used, and look at that. I think it looks pretty good. I'll show you the next steps I take when I put the color on, like the squirting paint blobs on the palette. So anyways, there you have wood grain. I am now in the process of adding my final color. So what I have here is a little bit of orange, a drop of orange, a drop of white, and a drop of water. The reason I add the white to some of these colors is because if I didn't, it wouldn't give the color enough depth, and the wood grain would shine through, and I don't think it would, I just don't think it would look as good. Okay, add the orange. And our cookie is now complete. There you have it. Bye.